Alaihi Wasallam was a nur and had no body.
You have told us about them. Already another questioner also mentioned them.
Yes.
They are the people who are generally called Barelvis
Yes.
in Indo-Pakistan subcontinent.
Yes.
But this issue is not of only of Indo-Pakistan origin.
Yes.
This debate started much earlier in some Arab countries maybe or some other Muslim countries.
Yes.
But this issue was inherited by this sect in Islam in India. But it took a very pronounced place, occupied a very pronounced place among the sectarian differences.
Yes.
Because here in India it was taken so seriously that wherever there was a majority of those who believed in the Rasul Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam having no shadows, some shadow believer people went, they were sometimes killed in riots. And the vice versa also took place. So it turned the history of Muslim feud in India to really a bloody history in that period. So that is why the divisions were sharpened, and at that period the Saudis, by these believers in no shadow issue, they were hated the most on earth because they were those who emphasized far more than other sects on Rasul Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam being a bashar and went even beyond the normal limits. So that is why in those days it was called Wahhabi Kutta. You know, that was a common word which you could hear in India and Pakistan. Pakistan was not yet made, but let's say subcontinent India. Wahhabis were referred to as dogs.
Yes.
So this difference took such an ugly turn in the later period before Ahmadiyyat. As I have already told you, there were riots and killings and burnings of each other's houses, etc. Once it is said that in a village, a Sikh shopkeeper who was honest and intelligent, he became so popular that a Muslim shopkeeper close to him lost business, and the business which he previously handled was transferred to the Sikh shopkeeper because of his honesty and cleverness, his selection of good things. He tried his best, but despite the fact that the majority of the villagers were Muslims, nothing worked on them. They said, wherever you get better things, we'll buy from that shop. You don't give better things, you don't get cheaper things, so we're not interested. So he was worried, and he consulted some friend of his. He said, what can I do? I've tried everything. Despite the fact it's a Muslim village, but they are turning to the Sikh and they are not paying any attention to my shop. He said, I tell you something, it will work. You spread the word in the village that this Sikh has become Wahhabi. And the moment he did, the entire situation changed and got transformed. People started spitting at that shop, that was Sikh Wahhabi shops, and started turning back to this Muslim shop. So this is the extent of their ignorance, unfortunately, and their, it is a mockery of religion what they make out of these differences.
Yes. Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Azura, I've got two questions.
Please.
If Friday sermon has already started, can somebody say Sunnah? And if not, what's the proper time to offer the missed Sunnah?
This issue has been debated for a long, long time, in fact, between two different schools of Muslim jurisprudence. Those who believe, and this is the right, according to the Ahmadiyya belief as well, that at least two sunnahs before Jummah are essential. They say that if somebody is late in the mosque and he has not performed sunnahs before starting from the house and the Jummah has started, he should say the sunnahs even during the khutbah. But try to do it, quickly as far as possible. And some say no. Those who say no, they bank on some traditions which indicate that Jummah is also a part of the ibadah. That is worship of Allah. So they say when one worship is being said under an imam, how can you say a worship alongside with it of your own? So this is what they find contradictory. But the answer to that is that in some cases it is permissible. If some imam is saying Asr prayer and you have missed the Zuhr prayer and you reach the mosque when the Asr prayer is being said and you know he's saying the Asr prayer, then you are not only permitted, you must say your Zuhr prayer before that, before you join him. So if in real worship it is permissible, why shouldn't it be permissible in Jummah? Now what is the urgency? Why he should say that? One of the reasons is that suppose the imam joins Asr prayer with Jummah afterwards, then no prayer will be said before sunset. Even sunnah and these things will not be said. So his compulsory sunnah will be lost. So it is better to be on the safe side and say the sunnah while the imam is saying khutbah, because khutbah is sort of worship but not exactly as the prayer as we know. There are orders of preferences. So in the light of what I have told you, it is the Ahmadiyya view that quick saying of 2 rakat is not prohibited if you have not said earlier than that. If you said 2 rakat before starting, then you shouldn't say any prayer during the khutbah at all. Right?
The other question.
Yes, please.
In the last question and answer session, Azur, you stated about the life of a child in the fetus starts after
Yes.
4.5 months.
I said perhaps at about 4.5 months, the child comes into his own in the sense that if he is aborted at that period and taken good care of, he does have a chance of survival. So any time a child is born with the possibility of surviving as an independent individual, that is the time which we should consider, beyond which human interference regarding the fate of that child should not be tolerated, should not be accepted as permissible. Because then it will be like taking life. Because life can be defined differently. But the minimum definition of this should be that if a child is born and he stands the chance of survival, then he must be considered live within the tomb of his mother. But if he becomes a sheer waste and does not acquire an independent life of his own, then it can be argued that abortion to that stage will not be tantamount to murder or killing. So that was the argument which I was trying to put across. Perhaps I failed, I didn't do it properly.
Up until that time, if necessary, can the abortion be carried out?
There are other rules for that. It is not permissible to abort. There are other rules which the Holy Quran has clearly laid. Right?
Exactly.
Thank you.